Do you ever look in your closet and feel uninspired? Like maybe if it looked a little bit more like your Pinterest board, then you would really be able to start dressing? Well, that thought crosses my mind on a daily basis. So today I'm trekking all the way from the Big Apple to suburban Pennsylvania to check out the vintage and thrift scene there and make my Style Vision Pinterest board a reality. Good morning from me and my bayang, or cowlick rather. Let's just try not to focus on that. I'm staying in a more suburban area of Pennsylvania, so I thought I could check out some of the cute little vintage shops here. They usually have authentic vintage at much lower prices than they do in New York vintage stores. I got this really beautiful skirt there last time, and it's one of my favorite thrift finds ever. Let's hit the hay. No, that's going to bed. No, that's different. The first stop was this cute little coffee shop so I could fuel up for the day with a matcha latte. Clearly I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. I've got to say this place had immaculate cozy vibes. It was kind of a hybrid cafe slash market, so they were hosting a lot of small businesses that had unique vintage trinkets and handmade crafts. There were some great picks. I especially loved this angel print button down, and I went through all the corduroy pants, but unfortunately none of them were my size. Oh my gosh, that shop is so cute and their matcha is really good. Something that I'm trying to do recently is shop in accordance to my Style Vision Pinterest board. And honestly, the overwhelming style I see in it is kind of whimsigoth. Even though I wasn't trying to pick a specific style, I think that's just what I lean towards. That store didn't quite have anything that fit, but hopefully this next one will. So I didn't end up purchasing anything there, but I walked on over to another bigger thrift store. The inventory leaned more mid-2010s, which isn't necessarily the style I was looking for. I was leaning more towards a 90s/early 2000s gothic, witchy, romantic vampire vibe. There were a lot of free people items, but none of them really caught my eye. I did try on this one brown leather bomber, and it had this intricate map lining on the inside, but the fit was just a bit too oversized for my taste. I didn't end up getting this white sweater because I felt like the colors didn't really mesh with my palette that well. I tend to prefer warmer tones, but I did go for this brown mesh long sleeve top. I thought it would be a great layering piece because I could already imagine the outfits that I would style it with. I noticed this color and fabric repeat a few times in my Pinterest board, and it was only $6. This next vintage store I walked into definitely had a stronger curation than the last one. There were at least 100,000 sweaters. I'm pretty sure I saw this particular polo one in every single colorway imaginable, and they had an amazing collection of vintage designer bags. I fell in love with this Coach one, which in New York would honestly go anywhere from $90 to $120, but it was only $40 at the store, and they were having a 20% off sale, so I got it for even less. I was so excited to try on this white structured blouse, but it didn't fit. It was just one size too big, and I really wish I knew how to alter clothes because it was near perfect. I of course had to try on at least one polo sweater, but I didn't love the fit of this one. And as you can see, my thrift blindness was slowly starting to creep in here. I tried on two brown cardigans, but I didn't love the blue accent on the first one, and I liked the knit pattern of the second one more. And then something incredible happened. I put on these authentic 1970s corduroy flared bell bottoms. This is one of the most incredible thrift finds I have ever found, ever. My personal style and my board definitely have heavy influence from the 1970s, so needless to say, this is exactly the type of piece I was looking for. At this point, I was getting a little bit overstimulated, but I still had one more stop and it happened to be opening day. It was a bit harder to dig through the racks here just because there was so much inventory, but this was the shop out of all of them that I think had the most authentic vintage and all at really great price points. I found this beautiful red 1970s formal dress, this gorgeous bridal suit, and a horde of pastel nightgowns. This red leather Y2K bag stole my heart. I tried on two things, the first being this gorgeous baby doll nightgown, and it was just so darling, I couldn't pass it up. I especially love the tiny daisy embroidery, and this Rolling Stones tee just had the perfect baggy fit. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I got so many good things.
joining us tonight. And welcome to the Lakeland Orchard and Cidery Halloween Show.
I don't like this. I don't like it anymore. Almost.
That was close.
Going to the woods or მედაჩემის მაბადურა საზამთროს რო ვყარავდით ხოლმე.
The following day, the plan was to go to Allentown to check out the vintage scene there, but we had to make a quick pit stop at the Salvation Army, and by quick pit stop, I mean 1.5 hours of me looking through every single rack in the store, which I'm really glad I did because one of the first things I found was this beautiful brat green Y2K asymmetrical hem dress. I was particularly excited about this because it could work so well for a number of Halloween costumes, but it's also just a holy grail vintage piece. Speaking of Halloween costumes, they hid this gorgeous vintage dress in the costumes rack, and I would have snagged it, but it was just too small. I was actually surprised at how many early 2000s pieces I was finding, including this pink dress and this Say What jacket. The back section didn't disappoint either, except for this one Coach bag that I would have picked up if the condition was a bit better, but I really hit the jackpot in the sleepwear section, and I really wish I could be this lucky in New York because I feel like most thrift stores there don't even have sleepwear sections, or if they do, they're marked up to like $60. Each one of these slips and nightgowns was anywhere from $3 to $5, and most of them were vintage Victoria's Secret. I even found one with a Union made label. Up until this point, I had just kind of been throwing everything into my cart, so it was time to make some really hard decisions. This was the black nightgown with the Union label, so I believe it was made sometime around the 50s or 60s, but I love the mesh paneling on this Victoria's Secret one way more, and I felt like it was a better layering piece. I had been looking for a red slip skirt, so this one was definitely a yes. This I'm pretty sure was a children's ballet skirt, but I thought I could layer it over skirts as a belt. This is when I found out this dress was City Triangles, which is one of my favorite vintage brands. They always have the best Y2K dress designs. I really like this pink Ann Taylor dress too, but it had some visible staining. I like the print on this floral maxi skirt, but I definitely have way too many of these, and honestly, the color would probably wash me out. I don't know what's going on, but every piece of workwear that I pick out just doesn't fit right, so maybe I'm just not meant to be an office siren. I loved everything about this brown jacket, the color, the fit, the fabric, the silhouette, but the zipper was definitely kind of broken, so I just didn't think it was worth it. So I headed to check out with my final haul, and we skipped on over to Allentown. This festive vintage marketplace definitely had some interesting interior design choices, some of which absolutely terrified me, but I guess it was during Halloween time, so that's pretty seasonally appropriate. It was another one of those stores that had multiple vendors curating their own unique aesthetics, but I was particularly drawn to this one booth that had a huge collection of vintage formal gowns in every color from every decade. This red one would make the perfect pearl Halloween costume. The lacy frills on this one, to die for. This might be what Cinderella actually wore in the movie. Are you kidding me? With those puff sleeves and the structured corset, this asymmetrical candy striped one with a floral accent on the arm, definitely giving Carrie Bradshaw vibes. This one I believe is a wedding gown. Something about it was giving me Marilyn Monroe. The tulle was just everything. I wish I could have tried it on, but there were no fitting rooms. I loved the shoes this vendor picked out too. The second floor hosted more art and decor, which was also really fun to go through. store actually happened to have 2 consignment shops inside. The curation of the first store was, I believe, for an older demographic. I did find a few cute pieces, but there wasn't much vintage and I feel like the prices were kind of steep for what they were offering. I tried on this one black velvet midi skirt with a rose print. I thought the signs in the fitting room were so cute because they helped you separate your finds based on if you were on the fence or not. The other really great thing about the fitting room is they were blasting neon lights by Demi Lovato. I decided to go for the skirt because I don't have any in a velvet fabric and I thought it embodied the whimsy goth aesthetic pretty well. Next door was Plato's Closet, and I hadn't really been in one before because there are none in New York. Because there was so much fast fashion, it honestly felt a little bit repetitive. I swear this one shirt is haunting me because I've seen it in every color. I tried on this black mesh shirt, which I love the print of, but it didn't really fit right in the shoulder area. I did love this lace shrug though. I feel like it's the perfect piece to layer underneath an oversized band tee. This cropped striped button up was really cute too, but I had just recently purchased something very similar. There happened to be a pretty big bookstore nearby, so I popped in to check out the romance section. I'm such a sucker for romance novels, but sometimes I feel like I get overwhelmed with the amount of options there are. I'm a huge fan of the enemies to lovers trope and just fluffy romances in general, so please let me know if you have any recommendations for that because I need to read more. Side note, can anyone explain to me why the most popular romance novels right now are about hockey? Am I missing something? Super excited to take all my new thrift finds and style them into some whimsy goth outfits, so let me know if you'd want to see a video about that in the comments. I'm so grateful that I get to thrift in all these different places and share my journey with you, so thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons if you enjoyed the video. It really helps me out a lot, and I hope to see you back here next time. Until then!